so the killer did this, and then this, and then watched this series, and then talked about it. Got it. So yeah, we have Criminal Minds. This is technically on here, season 18, but I'm not going to do it as that. This is Evolution season 3, because technically I do split them. So I am going to put a bit of notes, but I've watched Criminal Minds for a while, and I think don't have it with me down here, but I had the original box set. I started watching it every so often on TV when it was on TV, because it was fun. It was insanely interesting of like, you get like, I like crime shows, but a lot of the crime shows are the cops doing this, and then a lot of it is just, where are you with this? I liked Criminal Minds, and I actually sometimes just go back to it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch an episode. Because the idea of someone being like, okay, so here's how psychology works. This is one of the shows that I'm like, wait, this is how... I know there's some things that aren't accurate, and some things that might be inaccurate and are no longer accurate. I'm not going to claim that a TV show, which is meant to be a drama entertainment, is psychologically accurate. I'm not going to claim that, because that... yeah. It's the same thing with, like, I kind of have that opinion of... I'm just going to turn this off. I have that opinion on, like, police show, whereas, like, does this accurately show the police? No. Because, twofold. One of the major things, and I think Hot Fuzz joked about it, that is very important for police work, is paperwork. And I don't think that it would be fun entertainment if they show how much paperwork you need to do. They show it fun in Hot Fuzz, but again, that's that, and that has a reason for that in the story as a whole, and I really do like it. They also do the same type of cuts for him writing paperwork to him arming up later. Again, look, doing Hot Fuzz. But I liked it. I've sort of liked psychology because it's an interesting thing. Also in case me or my sister has kids, and I need to learn certain things that I feel like I should learn connected to certain things if I need to like do certain things in a specific way. Am I being paranoid? Probably. But certain things that you can have because of certain things that happen in life do happen and are possibilities. So yeah. Anyway, I liked this because a lot of it was just, okay, here's a murder, here's the setup, here's the solution. Yeah, there are arcs, but definitely during the earlier parts of this, you could ignore it. However, Evolution changes that. The only thing I didn't specifically like, but you do get things. Quick run-up. Season 1 is finding this Sicarius killer and his network. Getting involved, bringing certain people back. There are certain people who didn't join, specifically these two and this guy. But all of them, I think, had reasons. There are certain other people, but certain other people who should be in the series are dead, canonically, so they can't come back. I heard in season 2, which they had him and they were finding the other people who doing this, like, other thing, that was, like, lies and this, and it was really interesting. It was, like, these 7, and I absolutely still loved it. Derek Morgan and... What's his name? I forgot his name. But these two were meant to come back, but because of, and I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing this out as a fact, the writer's strike, stuff that came up. Should the writer's strike have happened? No, but not for that reason. Why? Because they should have paid their writers first. And like copyright, and I fully respect that. I was one of the people, I think I made a couple of clips when that stuff was coming out, and just edited it. Which I think was bad. Fully nowadays, I might just write something and being like, yeah, support this protest. Like, definitely with the strikers right. The strikers right. The writers' strike, I think was worth it because it's AI protection and equal pay, which I think is 100% worth it. I also think there was also another thing during it, which was basically, the actors' strike. Which again, both things are AI protection and fair pay, because there's a thing about a TV show basically this doesn't do the same thing as TV. TV has royalty, meaning if the episode does a rerun, you get a certain kind of the money, but this doesn't, in an odd way. So, yeah, and this was complicated, and then you didn't get paid. There are better people to talk about this. But yeah. And then you get into season 3. Sorry, that was like really half the probably episode length. The video length. Which is interesting. This is the spoilers that this is so interesting. That this, as a concept, I don't know how likely it is for this setup happen, is Zacharias is a person who is diagnosed as a psychopath. But then, in season 2, he gets injured in a fight. He goes to hospital, and then, even alongside, I think he's faking it, he loses all his memories. Obviously, it's about slowly getting back his memories, while trying to find the rest of the, group, which does then again feel like a one-on-one. It also is interesting, because I think, isn't there an actor in this, as in Daredevil? I think it's Daredevil's friend, because they look really similar. I don't know if I'm crazy. But overall, doing that and then slowly regaining it, he gains empathy. Again, I don't know much about psychology, even though I look up stuff like this like an insane amount. Including Darren Talk saying, I mentioned that I watch him, and he talks about psychology in games. And I'm watching a lot of things in psychology, but I like psychology. That's besides the point. I don't know how likely this has happened. Again, not smart. But that idea of and him trying to do these things after the first 2 seasons sort of built him up as a person who cannot sort of change is interesting. And I like how they build him up as a story that leads to his arrest. Also, he comes back for a bit. I think it's is she on there? Yeah. Her husband dies, which is a very major point, and then he comes back for the funeral, and there's 2 flower circles, which are I think these 2. But overall, I think it is a really interesting idea. Overall, all of the stuff that's interesting and how it wraps is so fun. Again, I do need to point out, this does it at least a little bit better because you get the separate crimes that you then at the end being oh, this is actually part of the major thing. But it's okay, we're going to analyze this and connect it to this. Which season 1 and season 2 kind of felt okay, this group exists, so we're looking for people in the group, and then we're going to do that. While the first 2 are okay, weirdly enough, these are connected, but when you first introduce them, it's here is a set of murders. Which is why I liked the original a bit more, is because I like the idea of it's basically I don't mind, it's, sometimes you have one-to-one, sometimes you have long continuous episodes, and sometimes it's one, which the original Criminal Minds was, which for a murder mystery series, I kind of sometimes like the so we're going to talk about this murder mystery, and we're going to do this, and then do this. I like it. It's fun, because you get to just, sometimes just watch an episode being this is cool. Yeah, you sometimes have connecting points. Definitely in the older series still had that. Definitely with Rossi having his whole introduction being that. But overall, I still like it. But yeah, I still do love this. This is cool. And it's just really amazing on how this... Sadly, I think this is the end. I think they do market it as the end. And I think this is really good. It's a really good continuation to what the original one was about. So yeah, and now we have another one of the books. So yeah, we're going to talk about this, and that's going to be fun. Yeah. Sorry for this being long and being a bit confusing. I just wanted to point out how I started the series and the kind of thing building up to it. It's very complicated, but yeah, I love this series, and I do hope you enjoy this weird, mad video. I hope you enjoy, and good night.